The 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, and his First Lady, Nancy Reagan, lived in a beautiful ranch-style home in Bel Air, California. The residential neighborhood on the Los Angeles West Side was a perfect place for the rich and famous. But the Reagans' abode stood out from the other high-priced residences. Want to know why? Today, we'll visit the stunning Bel Air home that became a cozy nest for the former president and his wife, and see whether their tastes were as conservative as their politics. Mr. and Mrs. Reagan moved to Bel Air in 1989, just after they left the White House. The couple found the foothills of the Santa Monica Mountains a very appealing backdrop for a new stage in their lives. But that wasn't the only reason. A group of their friends actually purchased the estate for the Reagans in 1986, about 2 years before the end of the president's second term. They invested $2.5 million in this ranch-style house. The couple could lease the home with an option to buy. The Bel Air property was deeded over to a trust in Reagan's name in 1989. The neighborhood was favored by celebrity residents, including comedian Joan Rivers, actress Elizabeth Taylor, pianist Burt Bacharach, and singer Kenny Rogers. Just down the road sits Lionsgate, the estate that once belonged to the country music icon. Nancy Reagan's superstitious misgivings regarding the number 666, also known as the number of the beast, caused her to ask the government of Los Angeles County to change the residence's address from 666 to 668 St. Cloud Road, which they did. The Reagans' lovely home was built in 1954 in a mid-century modern style. It sits on 1.29 acres of grounds and features 17 rooms across 2 floors. The house offers nearly 7,200 square feet of living space. It's located atop a bougainvillea-lined driveway, just a short turn off Beverly Glen Drive. The house comprises 3 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, all in a beautiful wooded setting. It offers stunning views of downtown Los Angeles and Century City. The exterior boasts a green, sprawling lawn and mature landscaping. The home is surrounded by lush vegetation on all sides, which grants enhanced privacy to the homeowners. A sparkling swimming pool offers a perfect sun-soaked spot for entertaining. Nancy Reagan grew yellow orchids in the hothouse located below the swimming pool. When the couple lived in the White House, Nancy asked Los Angeles interior designer Ted Graber to design the family quarters. The First Lady liked the result of their collaboration so much that she asked Graber to decorate their Bel Air home too. Graber was known for his soft modern style, a mix of traditional and modern. However, the designer faced a dilemma. A true connoisseur of beautiful things, Nancy Reagan embraced the finer points of interior design. Ted Graber had to mix it up a bit to make all their things feel right in the new place. He designed custom shelves for each side of the fireplace in the living room to display numerous special items. The First Lady also inherited some pieces from her family, so incorporating them just right was important to her. Some furniture traveled with the first couple from their family residence at the White House, like this American 3-seater sofa in the living room, estimated at nearly $4,000. The interior eventually coalesced into a mix of chinoiserie, fine antiques, exoticism, and modern lines. Graber skillfully integrated more traditional pieces into the mid-century modern architecture. The interior designer Peter Schifando also collaborated with Mr. and Mrs. Reagan on their home in Bel Air. For an entire year, the 2 designers focused on remodeling, planning furniture, and decorating the house. They had to anticipate every detail in advance to prepare the home for the first couple's arrival. Even orchids had to bloom in the warm sunshine streaming through each window when Ronald and Nancy Reagan arrived from the White House in 1989. It was the designer's finest hour. The Reagans were very excited and happy with their new home. They could finally relax from the pressure of the presidency and press scrutiny. The couple found the Bel Air home very inviting and down to earth. Most of the furniture and decorative art pieces were estimated to be under $10,000. However, the living environment was full of high-quality objects, adding a note of comfortable luxury to the homey atmosphere. The furniture, paintings, sculptures, drawings, prints, decorative works of art books, and memorabilia. Everything in the Bel Air home matched the elegant taste of Nancy Reagan. This 14-karat gold frame of basket weave design was a somewhat sentimental piece, depicting a smiling Ronald and Nancy Reagan. The First Lady took this frame from the White House, where it was initially displayed while President Reagan was in office. There were also one-of-a-kind masterpieces in their private collection, like the oil painting A Gay Time by Anna Mary Robertson, or Grandma Moses, created in 1953. Seemingly plain and unsophisticated, the piece is a lovely example of American folk art. Just imagine, the creator, Grandma Moses, started her painting career at 78. She became very successful at an advanced age and gained immense popularity during the 1950s. No wonder this painting from the Bel Air house was estimated at around $22,000. All these treasured things were pieces of art skillfully blended into the interior design. Bronze Western sculptures dotted the hallway, looking through the library to the living room. And look at this porcelain cockatoo standing lamp. There were actually two of them, one standing in the dining room in front of a picturesque nature-patterned wall. The piece was estimated at nearly $6,500 at Christie's auction in 2016. An avid collector, Nancy Reagan also had a whimsical collection of 27 elephant figurines, all of them from the 20th century and valued at $1,500. Each figurine is unique and made from a different material. Some of the figurines sit on wooden bases. You might wonder why the FLOTUS picked elephants, not tigers, lions, or geese. The reason lies in symbolism. Besides being the longtime mascot of the Republican Party, elephants have an extremely auspicious meaning behind them. They represent loyalty, wisdom, power, and fertility. No wonder the First Lady kept the charming collection, wishing to bring luck and positive vibes to her home. The couple lived a quiet life in moderation in their single-family home. They also loved to welcome friends occasionally. Then, Ronald and Nancy Reagan stood arm in arm on the stone walkway to greet the arriving guests. They received guests in the gracious living room that emanated warmth with its soft hues. The company sat on the quilted chintz sofas decorated with needlepoint pillows with the initials RWR and NDR. The couple received numerous notable political visitors at the house, including the German Chancellor Helmut Kohl, the Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, and the British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Many Republican presidential candidates visited the Reagans at the house during their campaigns, including George W. Bush and Mitt Romney. Frequent entertainers, the Reagans liked to enjoy fine cocktails with their guests. Then, Nancy Reagan took out these bar napkins embroidered with Reagan's Bar, and smaller napkins declaring, "The drinks are on the house at the Reagans." Sometimes the party moved to the library, which was the Reagans' personal haven. There they often dined on trays, watched TV, talked on the telephone, and discussed the news with close friends or politicians. The library featured numerous shelves full of leather-bound volumes, bound movie scripts from the Reagans' former careers, and gifts they received at the White House. Mrs. Reagan laid an elegant table in the dining room when they had a more official gathering. Then she served the meals on a Mataheda porcelain Chinese export-style monogrammed dinner service. The pieces are exquisite and unique, with a gilt RWR monogram. They are decorated with a cobalt blue and gilt trellis border with stars, butterflies, alternating landscapes, and bird vignettes. With them, Mrs. Reagan honored the guests to her home, offering them the very best she had. The First Lady was extremely hospitable. She usually served her guests her signature drink, pomegranate iced tea with a sprig of fresh mint. The Reagans' friends recall their house as a very personal retreat where two people found contentment and privacy together after a public career on the world stage. Everything changed with the president's illness. He had Alzheimer's disease for over a decade. Mrs. Reagan considered it paramount to maintain a normal life at home. She stuck to family traditions, especially on Thanksgiving and Christmas, believing that everything should be the same each year. Nancy Reagan began planning their Christmas tree and decorations early every autumn. She selected the silver centerpiece, candlesticks, and stirrup cups for floral arrangements. In later years, Christmases were always intimate, usually celebrated with family and her closest friends. Ronald and Nancy Reagan lived in their ranch-style abode until their deaths. Ronald Reagan passed away at the age of 93 in 2004, and the former First Lady died in 2016 at the age of 94. They both died at their Bel Air home. In 2016, billionaire Jerry Parenchio acquired the home for $15 million. The house was demolished in 2020. As you can see, Ronald and Nancy Reagan led a more conservative lifestyle than one would expect after they left the White House for Bel Air. Their two-floor residence reflected their love, which lasted for half a century, and Mrs. Reagan's impeccable taste. The first couple felt entirely at home in their California ranch-style house. The graciousness of the Reagans' home was noticeable from the moment one crossed the threshold. Now, we'd like to ask you for some feedback. Did you enjoy the Reagans' Bel Air home? What are your impressions after visiting it? Please leave a comment or two below the video.